Okay, back out in the shop today. Got a couple new things in. Got a couple things off eBay. Some are just some used stuff that I picked up. I'm relatively happy with. I got a nice, I believe this is a Federal Testmaster. These aren't that really great for accuracy wise. The main reason that I got it is because I really wanted this particular attachment. But I did look up the actual gauge itself is actually in really good condition, and it works really well. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera or not, but it's got repeatable action and it's not real sticky. So that was a win-win. But like I said, the main thing that I wanted out of this is this little mount. This basically fits the dovetail. It's got a nice machined surface that's got basically this is attached with a little plate, and you tighten that up and it'll basically attach to the dovetail. And I really wanted this, so I'm really glad I got this. Another thing that I picked up is I got a really nice I believe this is pronounced Ames. I've seen a couple of these online on some other YouTube channels, and I just really like the display face. And now that I actually have it in my hand, this is chrome plated. It has a really nice feel to it, and it's really easy to read, and it's got really smooth action. And this has a lot of travel. But another nice little piece that I got on eBay. The main content of today's video, I had one viewer, actually a Patreon supporter, that asked about the horizontal and vertical and sync settings on this potentiometer on the back of this CRT. I'm actually going to show how to set those, but in the same process, I have something new to put in here. I got the LCD replacement for this Fanuc, and hopefully this is the right one that fits. I'm fairly certain it is. This wasn't very expensive. Shipping and everything is around 150 bucks. I did have to wait for it to come from China. This, I believe, is the exact same unit that everybody else sells here in the States. I think this runs between $300 and $600 or maybe more. But we're going to pop this in today, and I'm going to go over how to set this CRT up. My CRT works just fine. It's a little bit skewed, but other than that, it works just fine. But I really want color, and I believe that looking at the wiring diagram on these controls, it appears it actually does support RGB output. And I know that there's a parameter change you can do to actually force it to color. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, worst case scenario, I'll end up with a monochrome LCD display that should be a little bit easier to read, that I won't have to make adjustments to. Best case scenario, I'll end up with a color display. But let me get started. Some of this video may be boring. I'm going to try to video as much as I can of pretty much everything, taking it apart. And I'm going to go over specifically for that particular viewer. They ask, they receive, how to set those pots. It's actually really easy to do as long as you know where to go and set them, and be real careful. All the capacitors and everything in this CRT, pretty much everything back there is around this area is high voltage, and there's a big sign that says high voltage on it. So you want to be really careful about getting your fingers in there, getting metal screwdrivers in there. We'll get to it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my unit. It's basically a swing out. It's really easy to get to, and basically I just got to take out all these bolts, and that'll expose the back side of the CRT. And basically my unit has 6 machine screws that hold the rear plate. Simple Phillips head screws. Takes just a sec to get off. And as you can see on the very back here, danger, high voltage. You know, you really shouldn't be into any of these panels if you don't know what you're doing. So there's my safety warning for this video. Okay, now we've got the panel off. And basically I just wanted to go over, if you need to set the potentiometers on this, basically this is high voltage. You know, you don't have to be too concerned with this area. I wouldn't really press on this too hard, but the areas of danger from electrocution are back here on this board, so don't get your fingers in there. But if you look right here in this slot, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total potentiometers. And what you want to do is take a small, ideally if you have like a plastic screwdriver or nylon screwdriver, that's probably the best thing to use. If you don't have that, I've used metal ones all the time in these particular pots. You'll be fine as long as you go in there and be real careful about where you're actually placing the metal tip of that screwdriver. My particular unit, the potentiometers are little blue caps and they have like a Phillips head looking like screw. I found that it's easier to use the flat blade, but you know, to each his own. If you're really super cautious, if you have your machine off and disconnected from power for I'd say a day, these caps and everything are going to bleed down anyway. I still wouldn't stick my fingers in there, but you should be fine doing that. So basically what you want to do is you basically want to turn the unit on, and you've got these potentiometers. And if you'll just slowly go through, I don't remember which ones are which, but there's none of them that really you can turn it a little bit and kind of see what it's doing. It's not going to throw it out so far that you won't be able to recover unless you just get on there and start cranking on one. But basically you have the vertical and horizontal sync, you have like a left and right skew, and then you also have the how big the pitcher is, so you can expand the pitcher. And really, there's one that actually controls the roll. I don't remember which sync signal that is, but if you have a rolling pitcher, you can actually go in there and adjust this and get the roll out and get it to stabilize. And then you want to kind of adjust everything else. And the big thing, you'll have to go back and forth on the sizing, because every time you change the size, it's going to change your offset. You may need to go in there and kind of, you know, turn one a little bit, turn the other one a little bit. But anyway, I hope this helps the viewer out that may end up doing this. If you have a Fanuc control and you know the display's not quite right, this is how you fix it. And it's a really easy fix. I'm going to go ahead and get started taking out what I need to take out, which is basically this whole CRT unit has to come out. There's only 2 power connections. It's a fairly simple connection. I'll grab the rear here to kind of show you. But basically you have a power connector, which is this white connector here, and the RGB signal, which is here. And this is a lot smaller. Holding it up, and I'll pull this out, I mean this is like a foot long compared to this deep. So there's going to be a lot less weight in the cabinet too on the swing out. And just kind of give you an idea of what connections you have. This is really simple. Basically I'm going to disconnect this wire here, and this is the power connector, and I'll disconnect it. And that's pretty much all there is to it, these 2 connectors here. And you will need a very long screwdriver. I'm looking at that top screw. It's actually really close to the flyback transformer. That's one of the areas of danger that you kind of want to stay away from if you think, you know, you still may have a charge, but I'm still going to have a really long Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to go grab one of those. Okay, I had to improvise just a little bit to get back there. This is what I'm going to use to get it out with. And voila. So this is what you're dealing with. So we're replacing this with this, much smaller. And obviously this is a lot easier to install. It makes the cabinet look a lot better for sure. We won't need that big giant long contraption to get the screws in and out. And I'm just going to snug these up because this does move a little bit. There's just some adjustability. And I'll actually set this where it needs to be after I get power on it. And the connections are really simple. These connectors, if you're not familiar with a Fanuc connector, basically they'll have a key, so they only go on one way, but you want to look at it and put it on the right way because you can actually kind of damage some stuff if you don't start it the right way. If you try to force it on the wrong, in the wrong orientation. Okay, that's fully hooked up. and I've already messed up. I forgot to take the plastic off the front of the monitor. I think the front comes off this. I'm gonna pull it off real quick, take that plastic off. Okay, so I gotta fix my boo-boo. I actually put the screen on and forgot to take the plastic coating off. I removed the front. It's just a little bit easier to get to. And I'm gonna remove this cover. You'll just want to be real careful with this keyboard. And I kind of like taking this off because it kind of shows me where the screen's actually lining up. I think I'm going to be okay. I may push it up just a little bit. This is pretty difficult to hold because everything's moving. Okay, we got that back together. I'm going to go around to the back of the machine and apply power, and we'll see what we get. Okay, it's about to get a little louder in here. I apologize for the audio. The converter and all the fans on this thing are cut on, so just bear with me. Okay, no fire so far. I'm going to turn the control on. Okay, looks like it's up and running. And the viewing angle on this is not bad. I can see it basically pretty much everywhere that I look. It's definitely a lot crisper. And, you know, it's obviously a little straighter than the old CRT was. And there we go. The next thing I want to do is actually go in and I want to change the parameter for the color screen. It'll take me just a minute to look that up. Okay, this will take me just a minute to find the parameter, and I'll try to go through the steps and missteps and what have you of actually setting this up. Basically, you want to go to diagnostic parameter. I don't know if this is a protected perimeter or not, so I'm going to look for it first, see if I can find it. Okay, we do have to turn on protect. I'll do that real quick. Now the way you do that is basically you go back to your main page and you basically want to set this to 1. And it'll bring up an alarm. And that basically lets you know that you're in protected mode. And basically on my particular machine, it should be perimeter 60. We're going to change that real quick. And basically, I just hit the input. We changed bit number 1. I left the other bits the same or the way that they were set. And basically it wants you to restart the numerical control after you change the right bit back. Okay, now we've got color screens, which is a little bit easier to read. You can kind of tell what's going on. Okay, so we're going to turn this off now and just make sure that it saves the setting. Okay, so far so good. I see some red text down here. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier to read. We've got green and yellow colors to kind of give you an indication of what's going on. Definitely the MDI screen is a lot easier to read. I'm just kind of looking through the screens here. Now that definitely makes it a lot easier to read. It looks like red means something bad is happening, which is a good way to tell what's going on. The positionals are a little bit easier to see. Check work offsets. The work offsets are a little bit easier to see. One thing I can notice right off the get-go is it's a whole lot easier to see where that cursor's blinking. I had the problem where I actually crashed the machine, and a lot of that's to do with the CRT. It was really difficult to tell which field you were editing, and I just wasn't paying a lot of attention. This brings a little bit more attention to which work set you're actually on. Okay. I hope this basically shows how to change a Fanuc This is a 9-inch monochrome CRT to a 9-inch LCD, and actually enabling the color. Your machine may be a little different. You may want to check and make sure. I picked this LCD up on eBay. I think mine was a 093 model, so it's a big long Fanuc part number, and the very tail end of the number actually tells which CRT you have, and my particular one was a 93. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'm going to grab the CRT real quick and just show you those potentiometers real quick, just because we can get a little bit better view of them. Okay, I've left the cover off. Actually, let me grab it real quick just so you can get a visual reference. Well, basically, this is the cover, and it'll kind of look like this when you're on when you have it on the machine. You'll have this will be your potentiometer slot, and this is what you're looking for. I'm going to take this back off. So basically, dangerous things to touch is anywhere around this flyback transformer, things like that. That should be covered. The items that you'll want to adjust are these blue potentiometers here. They have a Phillips head type slot, and basically you'll just want to gently turn those, turn around and look at the monitor, and make just really small, minute adjustments, and you can get this CRT center back up. After installing the LCD, you know, I would mess a lot with the CRT. You can make the fine adjustments, but if you're having a lot of problems with it and having to take it back on and off, to be honest, I would just pick up one of these. You can snag them on eBay. They're really inexpensive. Like I said, I think it was around 150, 190, somewhere around in there. I think you can pick one up in the States for around $300 or $400. And it's just a lot easier to read, and there's a lot less hassle. The big thing I already like is the swing cabinet. This is on a swing, and it's probably about 5 pounds lighter, something like that. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, I hope this helps the Patreon supporter that asked about the CRT adjustments. If you need anything else, just let me know. I hope y'all like the videos, and we'll see you on the next one.